Yo, 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 what's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome back to
What's
Let's
up?
Chop It Up. Please
What's up?
follow, like, subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and also make comments. We like to get feedback. We like to chop it up with you in person. Well, not in person, well, in the chat, in the comments. So we like it. We like it all good, the bad, the ugly. We love it all. So thank you so much for watching Let's Chop It Up. So we're going to start off late. Guys, how's your week? Rod, how's your week?
Pretty good, I want to tell everybody I'm back from vacation. Sorry I missed the show last week. I see my brothers held it down. I never doubted it for a minute though. But I had a little problem on the way back. I was profiled on the way back in the airport in Mexico.
What do you mean, man?
You know how you come to TSA on your way back, and on the way back, I went through TSA, made it through TSA, and then you have to walk through like a duty-free liquor store. They basically force you to walk through it. So as soon as I walk in, the lady says, "You want white Hennessy?" I never asked her. I never asked her a word about white Hennessy. I said, I never even said anything to you. Why you asking me about white Hennessy? You know what I'm saying? But that's profiling. You think every black man on vacation wants white Hennessy?
Yo, that's the truth, though. Every time I go somewhere, tell me to do that shit.
Did you want white Hennessy?
That's what I'm saying. That's beside the point, Kelvin. That's beside the point.
Yeah. But other than that, everything's good. Everybody's healthy. I'm glad to be back with you guys, man.
Yes. Derik, how was your week, brother?
Yeah, man. Week is all right, man. I had a lot going on, family issues, man, health. If you ever been through something with your parents, man, you already know I had some parental health issues, so we're working on that as a family. These things can kind of go a couple different ways, it can bring you closer together as a family, or everyone can kind of go off into egos. So I'm hoping that that what happened was the latter, and I believe that's what happened. At least So I think what happened is we're all on one accord now. You know what I mean? So we're good. Trying to take care of my folks, man. I still got my mother and my father with me at 80 and 81, man.
Wow,
that's
blessed,
that's
beautiful.
I'm blessed, bro. So I'm trying to keep them around for a lot longer, So I'm blessed. But other than that, everything's good. I heard from my oldest son recently. He called me yesterday. He'll be home in the middle of June. I'm looking forward to that. I'm hanging out, spending some time with him, and getting my whole family intact again. And bringing the band together, so to speak, man. And I'm riding high on that, man. He's doing good, man. He's almost finished with school and everything. So I'm riding high, and I'm in the gym again. I got back to the gym, So I went there today, and I got to lose a little weight. I fell off the wagon a little bit, but I'm good though, So
that's all right. We all
keep pushing, Derik. Keep pushing.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that, man. I'm gonna take your advice too, Rodney, man. Do some stretching too, man.
Yeah. Trust me, it works. It definitely works.
Yeah. Kelvin, how was your week, brother, man?
It was pretty good. It started off with reading some of the comments, which was cool. Some of the people that have been watching and supporting us. And, we could agree to disagree in some cases, which is cool, as long as we all do it respectfully. That's what we're about. So that was interesting. Also, I want to say this. New York City is opening back up. So there's a request that I have. I want to say this, and I don't mean any disrespect. If people did not know you before you put that mask on, and there's something under that mask that we should know about. Do some type of trial, okay? Don't just come without the mask and we find out you only got 2 teeth or something like that. we need to find out in advance. Some people have been taking off that mask and they're somebody else, okay? And that's you ever had that false advertising from here up. And it's really set us back. So I want you to take a moment, show the people a picture or something from pre-pandemic, because I can't front. There's some people you just couldn't recognize. You know what I'm saying? So we need, so that's good. We're looking forward to taking these masks off and coming back. We're gonna do it slowly. We're gonna do it the right way. I can't front. I started taking it off, and it was like it felt like you got no clothing on or something without the mask. So. But it's good. I'm glad that we're coming back and life is returning as usual. And I'm excited about the NBA playoffs. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So Knicks. None of y'all believe in the Knicks except for me.
I will admit, D, I give you credit, D. D, I give you credit. True. You deserve it. This platform is dedicated to you, D.
Kelvin.
Whatever they get, that's right. You get, brother. You for real.
Kelvin, I'm gonna say something in defense of the mask. that mask was saving us from a lot of people with stink breath too.
It was. It was. But yo, Rod, you just buried the lead. Did y'all hear that? Rod called me Kelvin.
Yeah.
What's going on, Rod? What type of vacation was you on?
Yeah, I needed a vacation, man. I needed a vacation, And the thing is, my pronunciation skills got better in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Oh, another thing, right? I'm gonna tell you right now. I know there was a lot of rumors about me being away. People said I was dealing with the cartel. You know what I'm saying? I was down there getting a new ass and all that stuff. Guys, you got to knock those rumors off, man. And nothing happened. I was on vacation with my family. Ain't nobody was down there getting their ass done. So knock it off. All right?
You get their ass done.
I got the same ass I left with. I came back with.
Oh man, my week was cool, man. I was on a little vacation, man, and I had a good time. Trying to get a little sunlight. Got my exercise on while I was over there. Went swimming a lot. Trying to test my lungs, man. My lungs still ain't the same and stuff like that. But it was cool. Got to see my boy that was in the military, retired, hang out with him. So it was real cool, man.
Nice.
Good.
Yeah. And real quick though, so it's funny. So we talking about the COVID thing. I have a good friend that owns a funeral home, and we was talking about certain things, and she was saying like, be careful still with these masks. She's still getting people coming in, but they're not putting COVID on the death certificate, even though she knows that the people have had COVID that died. So they're trying to change to open up things so things could open up. So she's saying like, before they wasn't saying how many people, if everybody was having COVID. Now they're trying to change it. The reverse is like, we don't want people who have COVID, so we want to show these numbers so we can get this world back together. So I can't bring her on the show because it messed up her business, but she's a dope sister. I love her to death. So anyway, but just be safe, everyone out there still.
Definitely. Absolutely.
So we're going to change things around. We have to change a little topic. We're going to go to some fun and action right now. Steven Jackson and Kwame Brown. And it was the other brother, Matt Barnes, light-skinned Matt Barnes. They call him Becky with the good hair. They have been getting into it big time over social media over the last few weeks here. They started talking about Kwame Brown's career. We all know the boat and jokes of Kwame Brown. People that know Kwame Brown was a highly picked draft pick.
Number one pick
to the Wizards. And he didn't have a promising career. We thought he was going to have a promising career. It wasn't a promising career. He failed not to say failed, because actually he bought his mother a house. He did good things, so he didn't fail. He just didn't have a successful basketball career. But these brothers cracked jokes on him, but Kwame came back spitting. You guys' thoughts?
Hey man, I want to push back on the fact that he didn't have a successful basketball career. You know what I mean? I don't know what the average. I think the average basketball career, I think, is maybe about 4 or 5 years. I think I heard that at one point. This guy made it 12 years in the league. You know what I mean? Yeah, he didn't. You could argue that he didn't live up to his #1 status, or he wasn't a savior of the franchise. But he made it that long. He played for a couple teams, and and he cashed checks. And at the end of the day, he kept it. And what you make is what you keep. And he made it pretty well, and he kept pretty well, from what I understand. So I think he pretty much had a successful basketball career. He got stepped over.
Listen, to me, anybody that made it to the league is a successful basketball career. Because think how many brothers at the park right now thinking they're gonna get in the league and they 35.
Exactly. Oh God, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I kind of see it a little bit different. I mean, you made it to the league, you were successfully in making it into the league, but I don't agree that Kwame Brown had a successful basketball career. a lot of as a basketball player, yeah, he successfully made some money, a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So you made the big change or whatever. But let's face the facts. Kwame Brown was a burger. He basically was a burger with cheese with extra pickles. Dude, he didn't live up to his expectations at all.
That's it for Rodney. Rod, I'm Kwame, direct all that.
You can add me. Make me famous. Go ahead. Make me famous.
I'm gonna say this honestly. I'm with Rodney though. It's all relative. This stuff is all relative. It's relative to other #1 picks we saw. When they draft you #1, they expect you to be a franchise player. And first of all, Michael Jordan is not a great evaluator of basketball talent. We just have to admit that. Secondly, he shouldn't have taken that boy too early, and then it wasn't good for Mike to be their teammate early on. I'll say this about Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown taught me a lesson. It's only so long that people are going to take getting bullied. Only so long people are going to take being a punchline. And Kwame Brown has had it. And let me tell you something. I don't know if he got a ghostwriter. I don't know if somebody working with my man. But when I tell you my man is firing darts, when I'm telling you, you do not want it with Kwame Brown. And he is not trying to squash it. Like
No.
my man
No,
just
no.
throwing gasoline on it.
Yes.
And here go my thing with Kwame Brown, what people fail to realize. People don't understand. Kwame Brown was 18 years old when he came to the league. He was mentally wasn't developed yet to be around those kind of men, especially with Jordan in his later career. You're talking about late 30 Jordan, you know, and the stuff he had to see. And we talking about this the 90s, right? So he's seeing a whole bunch of stuff going on. And you know, the thing about it, he going to the clubs, the practicing. He's supposed to be in high school. He just finished doing a prom. You know what I'm saying? So
he's not even old enough to drink. He's not even old enough to drink.
And the pressure of that at an 18-year-old. Think about how we were 18-year-old. We couldn't handle half this stuff. So people, I mean, neither fall back and say like a lot of adults could have damaged that young man at that time. So we can really develop. Like that's what I understand. People say go to the league at 18. I get it, but I like sometimes when the NFL takes a player and say, no, we're gonna let you watch behind this older player first before we make you the starting quarterback. I actually,
but wait.
Back from.
There are two
I
things
agree
with
with
Kwame.
that.
Can I just say something? There are two things with Kwame that I don't want to address, though, right? The first thing is like when you talk about number one draft picks, it's not his fault. He couldn't have drafted himself. You know what I mean? So somewhere along the line, someone made a bad call, right? I think if Kwame would have been drafted later in the first round, right? Second half somewhere, I don't think he would have the same level of animosity or, controversy around his name. That's the first thing. You know what I mean? It's not his job. The second thing, right, I would say is he's like it's not his job. You know what I mean? Like I forgot matter of fact, I had to just have a 51-year-old moment. I'm gonna let it go.
All right, check this out. This is what I think. This is what I think. Because I don't want to change the narrative here. I'm with Rodney. Kwame Brown was not a good player. Okay, I would just keep it 100. He was not a good player. And what happened was we saw some high school players named Kevin Garnett and Kobe Bryant spoil us. Okay, so they came out and they were otherworldly. And so when Kwame Brown went, part of this great migration to the league as high school players, he just wasn't ready, right? So now this is the thing. So I don't want to debate whether he was a good player because I don't think he was one. The issue here is, does the man deserve to get kicked after 20 years? And that's what he's saying. He's saying, I ain't been in the league in years, and y'all still talking about me, and he had enough. I never heard the man speak before. I never heard him do an interview before. But when I tell you that he bottled it all up and just let it go, and I'm saying he literally undressed all of these dudes and all these pundits that are supposed to be basketball aficionados. He's hitting them, and he's crossing the line. The stuff that he is doing now, and he got to have somebody working social media because he's putting out videos about this man's wife and all this stuff like that. See, what happens is I think this boy been around the league long enough where he know where some of them bodies are buried. Yeah. And he's letting them secrets out. Yeah. And that's why you got to be very careful of who you throw dirt on.
And people, go ahead, Rob.
No, the thing is, like, there's a lot of things we got to take into consideration here. Like we said, Kwame Brown was 18 years old. He's drafted number one pick. Okay, the average 18-year-old, he's still developing, mentally, maturely, So the thing is, he's going into a league, me personally, like you said, mentally, he may not have been ready. Now you're going into a league, it's got a mixture of guys that are in their 20s, in their 30s, So the thing is, he's trying to fit in. There's a whole bunch of attention on him, and he just wasn't ready. The thing is, like, we put so much pressure on these athletes, and some people cannot live up to it. They cannot handle all that pressure at 18 years old. So me personally, that's why I'm kind of let guys go to a college for 1 or 2 years, because then you're going to really see what they're about, because they're playing at another level, a higher level than high school. Because in high school, 18 years old, Kwame Brown was a man child. I mean, he was huge. He was huge playing 18 in high school. So if he comes there and he doesn't live up to the expectations and they couldn't develop him into a number one player, to me, it doesn't really kind of shock me. Now, the other thing about him now coming out or whatever, and Matt Barnes and Stephen Smith and Steven Jackson talking about him, you got to realize a lot of time has passed over these years. And these guys are not young no more. They're not 18 years old. These are grown men now. You know what I'm saying? So Kwame Brown is now a grown man. He's not an 18-year-old child. You know what I'm saying? So
he's got to be about 40 by now. He got to be at least 40.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. So now it's like It's like with me and you, D. You know, like basically somebody come at you, you take a grown man stance. It's a different time now compared to when you was 18, 19 years old. You're not having it. You're like, yo, I'm a grown ass man. I'm not taking this shit off nobody. You know. So I think that's the place that they're coming from now. Where Kwame is coming from now, and I really don't like to see brothers like battling their stuff out on social media. I just can't get into that. To me, like I don't like it. I mean, but they got each other's phone number, and if they don't got each other's phone number, they know somebody that got it. So they should call each other and they should just like work this thing out. Because now they're talking about fighting and all this stuff.
And the thing is, I think people understand. Let me give you the background. Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown's father killed his girlfriend at the time. I think with an axe handle. He's doing life in prison in South Carolina. His brother killed his baby mother and then killed himself. His other brother's doing time too. Kwame Brown's with the smoke. So I think that's what I think they need. These guys are Hollywood. I think they don't want to mess with Kwame Brown. This guy was before.
D, you got to look. You got to look, right? Look at Steven Jackson and you look at Matt Barnes. I mean, these guys got some fist fights under their belts. You know what I'm saying? Especially Steven Jackson going up in the stands fighting with Ron Artest.
Matt Barnes is too light skinned. He can't fight. Any dude with wavy. Have you ever seen a wavy head boxer? No, they don't care.
I think it was what was that boxer's name? Thunder.
What he say? I'm not going nowhere. I'm gonna let a man with a Bruno Mars haircut. I'm saying
everything that he throws out lands, and I'm gonna tell you something. That Becky with the good hair thing is not gonna leave Matt Barnes. It's a tattoo. I'm sorry. Every time you see him. But now on, that's what it's gonna be. It's just, and I mean, I saw it. Now, see, this is the thing I say with Kwame though. I think he should dial it back. He done decimated the Breakfast Club. I don't know if y'all saw that.
God, what he did to Charlamagne?
He destroyed them. I mean, anything in his way. He's the kid that got bullied and decided to come back to the prom and lay everybody out, and that's
he's
what
a grown man now. That's why he's a grown man now.
Yeah, man. You know? Think Carrie. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say this, then we go to the next topic. I think Matt Barnes mad because he's seen Derek Fisher in the shower, and Derek Fisher got a bigger penis, and he got his woman. So anyway,
he always got to take it one exit too far. He always got to take it one. And we should have got off the last exit. He took it one exit too far. We was almost there though.
Now we this week we lost one of our great comedy legends, Paul Mooney. If you never saw Paul, and there you go, the brother right there. If you never saw Paul Mooney in person, in concert, or even on YouTube or something, please catch it, young people. This is one of the best brothers. Talked about politics, race. He wrote for Richard Pryor's show. He wrote for I think he wrote for quite a bit of comedians. So with that said, one of the comedians that we know and we love that's close to the show, my man Rudy Rush, who worked with him over the years and had probably got some inspiration from him and probably got a lot of advice from him. So, Jamie, can you bring in our dear brother, Mr. Rudy Rush?
Hey.
Rudy, what's up?
Rudy? What up, man?
What's up, fellas? What's good?
What the fuck, you in the shower?
He look like he in the studio.
Why not?
Yeah, you in the studio, right?
Hey, I'm up in the studio right now, so
okay.
I got a little connection, so I had to make sure. You guys got a good show now, so I had to step my game up a little bit.
Yeah, Rudy, you're not in the studio shooting a porno, are you?
A one-person porno.
You want to save money?
So listen, before we get into Paul Mooney, real quick, of course, I was listening to the show. I want to say this about Kwame Brown real quick. If you watch The Last Dance, as much as we love Jordan, that dude's on some should have never drafted that kid. He should have never put that kid under that kind of pressure. There was dudes that was really good on his level that Jordan was giving the business. Can you imagine being picked first and having to play for this dude? And Kwame touched on that. They built Kobe's confidence. They built Big Ticket's confidence. They went to places where they was able to grow and mature. Kobe wasn't even good his first year out.
That's a fact.
Okay, so if Kobe went with Jordan as well, you can't bring a great like that and bring a kid in that system. Kwame lasted almost 8 to 10 years in the league. That means he wasn't a bum.
Right.
But at the same
time, he
was
was bummish.
No, there's guys that ride the bench for 5, 6, 7 years in the league.
They called Greg Oden the bus. If he didn't hurt himself he would be dominant in the league. It just, you know, but at the same time, the point is, he's like, yo, y'all gonna stop calling my name out. But anyway,
yeah.
That's it. Definitely.
Herb Williams lasted in the league for a lot of years.
Herb had this crooked ass
With the same haircut too. With the same haircut.
So Rudy, man, tell us about Paul Mooney, man. You work with the brother, man. You know him very closely. So tell us a little bit about Paul Mooney for people that don't know.
You know, it was Paul Mooney for me was the closest thing to having a relationship with Richard Pryor. You know what I mean? Having someone from that era, someone that we all looked up to as the GOAT in comedy at the time. Even though I came up, you know, with Eddie Murphy and then Martin Lawrence being my heroes, I thought Richard Pryor really set the tone. And I, from doing your studies as a comic, hearing that, you know, Paul had a heavy influence in that, to get to work with him and know him personally was pretty dope. And he was a nice guy. He was a little rough around the edges, depending on who you were, and because he didn't take kindly to everybody. You know what I mean? So if he liked you, you kind of saw it. I saw it as a notch on your comedy belt, like he respected you and you was official.
So so anything like he ever gave to you? Did you ever open up for him, anything like that? Anytime? How did that go? How'd it go?
So I worked with a lot of people one time when I was young, and so one of the things he taught me was like, yo, you don't want to be, and I didn't know how to do it back then. You know, we was going for heads back then. So it was like, you know, I tell young comics now, find a way to kind of temper yourself. So when you go out on the road now, or you go to a show, you guys, and you see a headliner and you see his opening acts, and they like, okay, it's a reason for that. They don't want anyone to have them have to work. And every show I pretty much did when I was young in my early 20s, they were like, you were the best one. And Paul Mooney was like, you're funny. And you're handsome. You never work with me again. You're funny as shit.
In other words, you can't have nobody upstage in the head.
Word.
Yeah.
Now you know what, Rudy, let me say this, and I don't mean this disrespectfully. I've sat through Paul Mooney shows. I didn't really find Paul Mooney funny. I found him interesting, and I hope I don't mean that to be insulting, especially now that we're you know, because I know he was talented. I know he's a great writer. I actually think he was a better writer than he was stand-up. But what I thought, and I want to know if this is true, some comedians seem like they're more interested in getting their message out. And they try to put jokes as the secondary. That's what he, to me, was really for his people. He was really against like institutional racism. And so he would get a lot of white people at his shows, and it seemed like this was his opportunity to give them a history lesson. And then in between, there's going to be some moments where you can laugh at that. Am I off base, or can you see my perspective?
No, you pretty much right on. And I feel the same way. And this is why I think this comic loves him so much. I feel the same way about Dave Chappelle. Now, I think Dave is hilarious. I think he's a little bit more funny. You get a lot more punches in a Chappelle show, but the knowledge and his wittiness and stuff like that is something that's very similar to Paul. But Paul is so abrupt. And so, like you said, I would sit there at Caroline's and watch white people walk out, and he would do like a 4-hour show. And like you said, it would be maybe 2 or 3 funny points. The rest was a history lesson and putting them to task and letting them know that they ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? And so, like you said, but it was the way he did it and the way that they would just come to see him. But when it was time to tell jokes, he had some. He was funny.
Yeah. So, Rudy, do you think there's never going to be another Paul Mooney? There's never going to be another Richard Pryor. Who do you think is on that same wave of a Paul Mooney, on that political race, talking about race and stuff like comedy?
I would honestly say, I would say Dave Chappelle. And the reason why I would say Dave Chappelle, even though he's not apologetic, you know, even now with the issues with transgender community, or, you know, it's a different day. So there's a different thing that's going on in society, and he attacks those things. But to be honest, I would go and see Dave Chappelle for like an hour or something. If he was at a lecture hall or something like that, and I was a college kid, that would be the first thing I would do, because he's very insightful. Me personally, I started comedy when I was 19 years old. I didn't tell a racial joke because of Dave Chappelle's willingness to go somewhere and be very smart with it. I didn't tell a racial joke until I was 30 years old.
Damn, Rudy.
And it wasn't because I didn't have it. it was just because I was like, yo, it was a lot of brothers and sisters doing low-hanging fruit. Yo, if a white dude, you know, somebody eats somebody in your neighborhood, who was it? It was a white dude. Like things that we already know. I wanted to be smart with it. Dave Chappelle to me always was smart, and so is Paul. They find ways to really shock you, but also let you listen and laugh. And sometimes you laugh at yourself, but there's a message in a lot of the things that they say. So yeah, I would say Chappelle.
I know a lot of people trying to say Eddie Griffin and what's other Cat Williams. I don't know. I don't feel Cat Williams. Like they got some stuff like that, but I don't think they're on that level.
So this is the thing. They are so woke. They're very woke, the two of them, but they so jokey and clowny, and their voices are not very respected. Do you understand?
I got you.
Talking like this, and you're talking about black people, man.
It's high pitch. Yeah. It is. It's kind of funny.
And Eddie's the same way too, man. Well, you know, like, but Eddie, I think people need to really sit down and listen to Eddie. Not when he's on stage, when he's in front of the camera and he's just like ranting on a YouTube something. Or whatever,
He's
very insightful.
Yeah. Especially on Instagram, he always putting some stuff out there on the gram and stuff like that. He's really dope with that. Yeah. So Rudy, man, anything you want to promote, man? Anything you got going on?
Yeah, I'm building showers here for Derik.
Hey, you can promote your daughter's dancing and your other daughter plays softball, man.
Let me tell you, my girls got me beat. By the time listen, my oldest is 14, which I need to talk to you guys about, because if you got a daughter, she ignores me now. I'm not cool anymore, so I have an issue with that.
Yeah.
But you know, the 5-year-old is picking up the slack. I'm actually doing a lot of shows. I'm gonna be in Chicago in July 4th weekend. I'm actually gonna be doing some shows here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm working on a podcast now, the Rudy Rush Show. So look out for that. I've been offered a couple of situations with podcasting, which is pretty cool. And I'm just waiting for everything to open up so we can get back to work.
Word. So
Nice.
you're Rudy, man. I love you. I want to hold up your time. We appreciate you for coming on, giving us some insight on Paul, man. I love you, brother, and we'll chop it up some other time, bro.
And Rudy, give me a call.
Right,
Rudy, give me a call. I got 2 14-year-old daughters. Give me a call.
I need some help.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw you a life raft.
All right, man. Peace, Rudy.
Call you too.
Later.
Call me.
Oh man, Rod in the middle. There we go. Look at that. Look at highlighting Rod. Ain't that some
Yeah,
shit?
it is, boy. I got a little bit of like a little beige-ish to me now. So call me Mr. Beige.
Or El Papi Rodney from Mexico. So also, like, you know, it was tragic, but it was a kid reporter named Damian Weaver back in there. I don't know if you guys everyone. There you go, Jamie. Damian Weaver. He interviewed Obama way back in the day. He suddenly passed away at the age of 23. It's apparently sound from early reports it might be natural causes. I'm like at 23, but it's so sad. I mean, he was getting bullied back. We just talking about bullying, like Kwame Brown. He was getting bullied, and Obama and him granted him an interview, and this interview made him so famous. I think he was in school for journalism, stuff like that.
Yeah, communications. Yeah.
Right, man. Future's so bright, man. You know,
so bright.
Yeah, you know, it's just amazing. Like how many people, like if he could have just made it, you know, that it just stuck that on the resume and just went on ahead and took that experience and just went on ahead and done it. Who knows what he would be, man? You know, it's just a shame, you know.
Yeah.
So life is so short.
Yeah, he was 11 years old when he did that.
That's
interview,
right. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So young, man. But also, go ahead. Kelvin?
Am I at Rodney's house or is he at mine? I'm looking at the wall. Okay, I'm about
his wall is the same color as yours.
The thing is, we got the same contractor, man. That's
that explains. Yeah, that explains.
Oh man, this is gonna be funny here. I mean, not funny, but it's kind of bugged out. Black doctors asked to show her degree on Delta flight, speaking out on Red Table. So this black doctor apparently was on a flight that was coming. I don't know where it was going to or coming from. It was on a flight, and the man had a heart attack or some kind of illness, and asked for doctors in the house. Basically, she said, "I'm a doctor," and these white people, being white, said, we don't believe you. So white man says, "I'm a doctor," and he said he's the doctor of love, and they said, "Okay, you can treat him."
They probably thought she was a witch doctor. That's what they probably thought she was. You know what I'm saying? It's fucked up. No, but I'll be honest with you. You know, like
that's fucking funny.
Okay, like she's saying that they wanted her to show her credentials and all this stuff like this. Let's face the fact: if a plane's in the middle of the air, like really much. What can a doctor do besides like kind of like evaluate what's going on? They ain't got no medicine. Do some CPR. They ain't got no medicine in their pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's not the issue. The issue is this. In other words, it's racism constantly.
No. Oh, I know what the issue is.
It's right. It's just, but I'm saying like constantly because he ain't have no tools either. It's just that the issue is it's exhausting. Now, me, hey, if you don't want. That's fine. In other words, I'm impressed with you. You say, you know what? I'd rather just die than have somebody black help. Fine. I will let you have your way. But what I'm saying is, after a while, it's exhausting. When you have people who go to school and get credentialed, and we had the utmost respect for anybody that takes 12 years of their life to go and become a doctor or with all different credentials to do that. And I mean, to be a flight attendant and call for somebody to help, and you have a person that's there, and you look at them, and just from your assessment, this person has got to show credentials while somebody is in a medical state where they could die. That's absolutely absurd. And I mean, when does it go away? When does it rest?
Can you imagine choking and then just stopping the person? Excuse me, let me see your credentials. No, I don't need CPR. You know what I mean? It's like
that's my point. Like, how much damage could she had a cause if you had let her do the doctor?
My luggage. Are you serious right now?
Yeah. This is my thing. Why we have to look a certain way? Like, if this black lady's on vacation, most black women, they get their hair braided. They're going to get their nails razzled and dazzled. So they're not going to look like they're in their medical jacket. So this white man, if he's wearing his little shorts and little plaid shirt, so he's supposed to look like a doctor all the time. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's kind of bugged out. It's kind of.
You want to try with your lab coat on or something?
Like, what I got show? I'm supposed to walk with my degrees in my back pocket or something like that.
I'm on
I'm just be honest with you. White males from age 40 to 65 get a free pass. They look the part. Whatever that part is, they have always been put up. You guys remember when we was kids, you look at the cereal box when I was a kid. On the back of the box, there'd be like 4 kids. It'd be the white kid in the front, the white blonde hair kid in the front. Then it's the little white girl next to him. Then it's a little black girl somewhere, and maybe an Asian or Spanish girl, but the boy was the front. He was always, and they grow up with that. And so a white man, like I said, if I was white, I could walk in the store and just take stuff. I don't think nobody would say nothing because the person is automatically trusted. That's what it is. That, they get a free pass.
And you can walk in the bank and get big loans too.
Yeah, you can sell your house for more. You get
at least 100,000 more in your house. Yeah,
we can go on for days about how like being white is just like really they don't understand the privilege of that shit.
Do you guys remember on Saturday Night Live when Eddie Murphy?
I was going to say that
when he painted himself white and went around into the neighborhoods and they were just classic. It was hilarious. They were giving them free stuff. They said, "No, go ahead and take it."
And what was his name in that sketch?
I don't remember.
White something, right?
His name was Mr. White.
Mr. White, yeah.
He went to the bank. You know what I'm saying? That's classic. Anybody that didn't see that, please look it up.
Look it up. YouTube that one. That classic.
True story. I don't know if you guys ever Googled yourself, right? Before, but years ago, I Googled myself. And I found my name on it had all my information right, my address and everything, but on the ethnicity, it had me as Caucasian. And my net worth was worth an extra $100,000 that I couldn't believe it. And I was like, why is it baby? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, hey, you got a light skin, so that might have been the real story.
Hey, man, you know what? I think I did. I'm looking for the white version, man. I need his credit score.
Hey, Derik, if I Google Demond Pearson, is nobody white gonna show up on my shit?
Not named Demond, no.
I guarantee that.
Derik, strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah, right.
You better use that shit.
So speaking of airlines, right? The airlines are considering weighing passengers before flights as the U.S. obesity rate climbs. So my fat ass might get charged an extra $50 just to sit on the airplane. I don't know who's invented this. Is it the producers from Soul Food or the producers from Spirit Airlines? Who's making this up the way?
I can only imagine how the airport's going to be when people if people had to get weighed. First of all, they're going to be coming in there with no clothes on. They're going to be going to the bathroom and throwing up. You know what I'm saying?
Shit.
They're going to be trying to get a discount for being fat. They're going to ask other fat people, yo, how much they charged you. You know what I'm saying? It would be crazy. It would be crazy.
That's some discrimination shit if I ever seen. But I mean, listen, I just came off. I came off a flight.
You ever had a bag that was overweight, and then what you do? You start taking shit out the bag.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Another bag, right?
Yeah.
That's what people gonna start doing when they got to get weighed.
But how you gonna move your fat?
They're gonna start taking clothes off.
You gonna move this fat to some other part of the? I don't know. You
shoes off. They're gonna take their jeans off. They're gonna take everything off.
That means everybody gonna get liposuction just to fly.
Yeah. Or you got to go on a diet a couple months before you go. You know.
Yeah.
That is foul. That
is crazy.
I'm drinking that Dick Gregory before you get on the flight. Yo, when I was on a flight, it's not. I understand what they're trying to say because there's some fat motherfuckers. Like this guy was on a plane, no bullshit. He was big, like my arm was right. This motherfucker arm was over here, and we had to squeeze through to get to the bathroom. Like God damn, and he had to get the extended belt. I'm like, dude, you should have just bought 2 tickets. You bought 2 tickets, you just sat in the middle, split it.
He couldn't afford to be fat. 2 seats was too much.
And this is the extended legroom part. That's why so it's no more extension. It's like there's no to be continued on this. This motherfucker's too big, man.
But you know what? I think to be honest with you, I think the issue is never, if you want to resolve the issue, is never going in on people, and I think that's what this does. You know what I'm saying? There's different reasons. There's something there when somebody, because their health is at risk, right? And we're in a country that promotes it. I mean, we eat for everything. We eat at the movies. We watch something, we're gonna eat. We whatever. You know what I'm saying? You go into a store. You know, you got to get a student loan to buy some vegetables, but that Chips Ahoy is $2 for $5. You know what I'm saying? They you know, I heard a doctor say one time, he said, what you eat in your 20s and 30s is going to tell me what I treat you for in your 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, you know, hopefully, but I don't think that's the way to do it. I hope there is a better way, because that would be foul to do that, because if you could do it with weight, then I think you could do it with other things. And I think slowly they kind of test certain things out to see what they can get away with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did I bring the sponsors back? Because I was trying to see if they could get them to come back, because I thought the sponsors were gonna break out.
No, but I hope they don't do that because it's gonna be sad that state affairs. They start charging people now. The next thing gonna be, how do you look to get on the plane? Like it's ridiculous. Like, the airlines, you're gonna make your money. Everybody's traveling. Plane tickets are so freaking high right now. Gas prices are high. You're gonna make your bread. So don't start discriminating on people weight. You know.
Well, the thing is, because of this thing with COVID, they're not going to be satisfied with just making their money back. They got to make much more, and they got to create ways to do it. And they don't care, but they seize the opportunity. They say, "Oh, our profits are down. We got to figure out a way to do, make money any way we can." And and Kelvin's right. They're going to figure out ways. They test things and they see how far they can go. It's all about money. It's all about dollars and cents.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So with that, talking about dollars and cents. A comedian, Gary Cohen's wife, wants $44,000 a month in spousal support. That's a lot of money. I don't even know what the math. I can't. I didn't do that well on my SATs and the math, so I don't know what $44,000 a month is in a year. But that's a lot.
Yeah.
Rodney, you want to take the mic first on this one?
Yeah. This is a typical situation. Like I tell you, when people get divorced, love is out the window. It becomes a major business. You know. Nobody says they want love in divorce. They say, "Give me some. I want half of your love." Yeah. And the thing is, the system has it where, the breadwinner has to keep the person that they're breaking up with at a certain status because they are accustomed to living a certain way. So this is when the business, comes into play, and this is what this is about. So we're looking at if I'm just guessing, like that sounds like over.
That's 580,000. 528,000. I just did the math.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Now I know they got a few kids together. I think they got about 3 or 4 kids together. I
know one of his daughters go to North Carolina A&T. I think is up there in North Carolina. I think his daughter.
Yeah, but it's also based on how much he makes. You know what I'm saying? If he can, she can ask for it. Doesn't mean she's going to get it.
Yeah, so
you took the spousal support. That's different from child support.
Yeah, that's separate from child support. You get spousal support and child support.
Yeah. And how old are her children again? And he's gonna have to pay for the one that's in college. Obviously, that's
Maybe I know it's it depends on the state they're in, right?
Correct. It depends on the state. I know in New York State it's 21 and it's over, no matter whether they go to college or not. In New York State, kid hits 21, child support stops.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's got a problem taking care of her, man. You know, he doesn't strike me as a deadbeat type. You know what I mean? He's,
No.
you know, but you know, yeah, that's a lot of money, man. You know, that's gotta hurt though. You know, that spousal support thing is gotta hurt. You know, and I'm trying to figure out what did they come out from with that. I think that's what she's asking for. I think that's the average of what her natural expenses are. $44,000.
It's based on what he makes. That's what it's based on. You know what I'm saying? It's like they do some sort of formula.
Well, not for spousal support. She's asking what she's used to. She's saying that what her natural, I guess her natural lifestyle or whatever it is would lead to, you know, he would have to spend $44,000. And I think the point of it is he made X amount of money. So, you know, over the last few years, so he should be able to afford that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
that's what I'm saying. It still comes down to what he makes. If the guy makes $100,000 a year, he can't afford to pay $44,000 a month.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know how much Gary Owens is making. You know what I'm saying? If the guy's making millions and millions of dollars a year, then it may not seem like a lot. But to us, you know, regular people, $44,000. That's why you got to get those prenups.
And I'm assuming that he was with her so long before he made a lot of money.
Yeah,
he met her when he was broke. Yeah.
Right. So that probably takes. But I do think it's excessive. I do. I don't see a place in this country where you need $44,000 to live. You know what I mean? You could do all right, or you could do. I'm sure they can maintain, because I don't get the impression he's that type of star where he has that lifestyle. I just don't see it. I mean, you know, with the work he's done, he's not a lead man.
Yeah.
He's not. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We're not talking about Seinfeld here. We're talking about you know, a dude that makes his money in front of black audiences or whatever he does. But I do think that courts are biased when it comes to that, especially when it comes to men. I remember back in the day, I believe Ted Danson was married and cheated with Whoopi Goldberg. Okay, so I'm not gonna say what I would ordinarily say.
True.
I'm not gonna let the enemy use me. But what I will say is this. I remember he made over, I believe at the time, $100 million or something like that with Cheers. And they gave his wife, who he cheated on, who had cancer, $80 million of that $100 million. The judge awarded her, I believe. Yeah. And she was never on the episode of Cheers. And I just think that's a bit much. Now the judge probably said, you cheated with Whoopi Goldberg, because this is what you get. You got to learn. So I do think he should have paid for that, but that does seem excessive, and I apologize. That was foul, but I couldn't help it.
Yo, you know Lionel Richie, in his divorce, he had to pay his ex-wife for any future plastic surgeries after their divorces. So he was paying to keep her good looking for another man. You know what I'm saying? And the reason that she got it was because supposedly she was a model prior to marrying him, and she said she walked away from her modeling career to marry him, and now she's aging and she wants to go back into modeling, so she needs plastic surgery in order to pursue her career after her divorce, and he had to pay for it every time she wanted plastic surgery.
Well, Gary Cohen's gonna need what he's gonna need after this divorce and everything. He's gonna need him a trip with the fellas. So with that said, you know, I want to let's talk about guy trips. Chammy, can you play the video about guy trips?
Yo, them jeans was too tight on homeboy. And he's going on a guy trip. So that's
I'm not buying that as a guy trip, man.
Yeah. That's not the guy trip I think we're talking about.
Yeah.
Them jeans, run that back again, Jamie. Them jeans was great.
said, "Where you go with my jeans?" That's what she said. Take my jeans
She said he
off.
wearing her jeans. Yeah.
and he wearing a blouse. If I ever go on a guy trip with my shirt is button open like that, y'all smack fire me if I show up to your car with my shirt open like that.
If you're going on a guy trip dressed like that, that's not the kind of guy trip we want to go on.
Nah, man, I don't think that's the one you need, man.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. I want to weigh in on this. Years ago, we had this debate. I was at a Super Bowl party, and we had this debate, and it was split. So this is how it started. So I had to go to St. Martin for a wedding. And I took two of my friends, two guys I know, both of them were married, right? So we're just talking about the trip. And the bride later says, well, they didn't have any business being there anyway because they didn't bring their wives. So then I was like, what's wrong with them not bringing their wives? You don't go anywhere without your wife, or you don't go anywhere without your husband. And so it became this whole Super Bowl party was divided because there was a lot of people in there, married people, that was like, your wife should not be able to go somewhere with one of her girlfriends or her group of girlfriends without me. And there was two of the guys that were adamant about it. Like, she can't go with one of her close friends from elementary school unless I'm there. And I thought that made no sense. And I was trying to figure out why. And what I get is when you're not married, you don't have a voice. They're like, you don't understand because you're not married. And so, they shut us out of it. But I mean, I just don't really get that.
Yeah.
Who's going first?
You go, Rod. Derik. Either one of you.
Go ahead, Derik. You can go.
Well, I'll tell you what, so much of, to me, in my relationship, as I understand it to be, so much of it is based on trust. You know what I'm saying? So, I would never stand in the way of my wife. I think part of the reason why I've married her, a huge reason why, was I trust her to make good decisions. You know what I mean? And that she has good people around her. I grew up, we knew each other a long time before we got married. So, I know what kind of person she is. I know the people she's around. I know what she's about. If her friends said, hey, listen, we're going to take a little trip, I want to invite you, whatever. And she just said, baby, I want to go. I'm like, you know what? Enjoy yourself, just go out and do your thing. I'll just find, I'll find something to do for myself. You know what I mean? But it ain't no thing, but, so that's just me. You know what I mean? That's just me. But I can't be in other people's relationships. I can see what they might want to, they might say, hey, I can't, keep track of my ex, or keep track of my wife, I should say, and so I don't know. I personally, I'm not with it, man. I just think you just trust the person that you're with, man, and just go on ahead, man. Just tell them to enjoy yourself. Don't be crazy. That's all. Just don't be crazy. And she should know it. So.
Yo, Derik, you talked about you letting her go, but she let you go?
Yeah, she let me go.
Okay, so it goes both ways.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
Yeah, same here, man. Same here.
So what I see, and I don't know, people that know me personally, I was previously married before this new marriage or whatever, and we have to first of all define the same guy trip. You know what I'm saying? I think me and Kelvin had this conversation before. If Kelvin had tickets to the Baltimore Ravens football game and we had to go to Baltimore to spend the night or whatever, absolutely, I can come. The thing is, from what I always notice with most women, when the guy trips get out of hand, is when you go away, far away for long periods of time. That's when it's going to create the problem. You know what I mean? And I also notice with women, they look at who you're going with. You know what I'm saying? Like, because everybody got a friend that their wife don't like. You know what I'm saying? So if if that dude is going on a trip, then guess what? You're going to have some problems. Like me and my wife we don't do separate vacations. We never have, when we were probably dating, I went and, she went on vacation or whatever. We were just dating. But when we got married, not, like I said, an overnight trip to a game with the fellas, yeah, I'm with you all day. But to go on a 5, 8, 9, 7 day trip to like freaking Bermuda or whatever, yeah, my wife's probably going to have a problem with that.
Yeah, and I understand that.
And it brings back, I'm going to tell you from experience, right? And I've seen it in other relationships because, like, I've seen guys that say, oh, I could do what I want and try to do that machismo thing. And then when they come back, they got hell to pay because it brings back a lot of negative energy back to the house oh, you think you're gonna go and do that and it's gonna be okay. So, see, like somebody said, DR Brazil, nope.
Man, listen, man, women say that men can cheat on the damn subway, like, and women can do the same thing too. So it's like
but they don't want to give you a permission slip to do it. That's what the problem is.
Listen, we all know. Ain't no permit. Exactly. That's what I think, Derek. That's why it's like I'm not gonna go crazy. Women want to go on a trip somewhere with their girls. I'm not sweating. I'm not the same thing back. Like we can do dirt anyway.
Well, that was my point. That was my point. See, what happened was these guys, these two women were like, listen, we've been friends since we were in second grade. We decided when we turned 40, we want to go somewhere, and they want to do the spa stuff and all these different things like that. That's what they said. And the guy was like, absolutely not. And I'm like, I don't get that. First of all,
where were they going, Calvin? Where were they going?
I think they want to go to Dominican Republic. But they want to do a resort and all that stuff like that. But I think to Dee's point, you can go to Rockaway if you want. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to stop somebody. You're not going to police somebody. If you think being around somebody is going to stop them from cheating, it just doesn't happen.
No, you can't hide the hook. You can't hide the cookie, man.
You know what I'm saying? And Rod, I understand your point, Rod. Rod, you're saying, listen, I'm not going, because I wouldn't go hanging out with no dudes in a place like that either, because they know what that's about. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, the fact that, to Derek's point, it's got to be some level of trust there, because if you want to police her or whatever, she could do whatever. That's the thing, But I mean, it was really a big divide, and a lot of people believe like, yo, if you got married, you don't have an opinion. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't. True. Yeah, I don't agree with that, man. I just think you marry the person. You put like this: you marry her, you better trust her. If you're not, you married the wrong person.
I could personally, she says,
and I'm with Nikki M. I'm with Nikki M.
Yeah, join men for one reason only. That's just a fact. Yeah, I mean, certain places got a bad reputation. It's true, man. But at the end of the day, you're not gonna hide it. You're not gonna hide cookie. You know what I mean? Yeah. If it's a man, you can't hide a man's cookie.
Vegas has a bad reputation.
Yeah, and then bad reputation. And the saying in Vegas is whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Yeah. Because the thing is this, like, and I'm not saying I do it or anything like that. But the thing is this. The negative stigma on going away to vacation, like Kelvin said, most guys that are against their wife going on vacation by themselves or whatever, they say, oh, we're going away on a spa. You can go to the spa in Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go all the way there. But the thing is that when you go away to another country or island or whatever, or Vegas, there's perceptions and stigmatisms that are put on, like, okay, if I do something here, it stays here and it ain't never getting back. Now, you got to remember something, too. I used to work for the police department. I've seen dudes go on trips, and then somebody on that trip dropped a dime about that trip, and it got back home to their wives. Those are the chances you be taking, because sometimes your friends today are not your friends tomorrow. So you got to think about these things before, because like I said, I did 22 years in the police department. I've seen a lot of shit. And the divorce rate in the police department is extremely high. Yeah. Extremely high. And a lot of it is due to adultery. You know what I'm saying? So when you say, oh, we're going on a trip with the fellas or whatever, and then when them fellas get pissed at you because over stupid shit, because you didn't pick up a job in your sector and he had to pick it up and he got stuck with an arrest and he had to go out that night or whatever. Some people are very vengeful. So I'm just throwing that out there. I've seen a lot of stuff.
I went to Dominican Republic by myself.
Okay.
And I remember.
I went one time by myself too.
I remember.
Long time ago.
And I remember whenever I would tell somebody that, oh my goodness. Oh, I know what you was doing.
Yeah, because it's where you went. That's why. Right. It's where you went.
Listen,
it's to each his own. It's to each his own. You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't doing nothing. I was just making.
Listen.
Sure.
I can travel anywhere. Listen. I could travel anywhere. They used to call me 50 grand because I G'd off in all 50 states. So it don't matter. It don't have to be EDR. So I'm just saying that to the brothers. But one thing I want to talk about is like in the technology field, there's a lot of racism starting to be experienced in the technology field. I was just watching this flick called The Code is Bias, and it's talking about racism and technology and STEM and stuff like that. So you guys' thoughts before we bring in the great doctor?
Yeah, you know what, man? Yeah, that's a hard thing, man. that I think that's the next major hurdle for us as a people, man. Just to, for the next generation, just getting them, tech literate, STEM literate. You know what I mean? Understanding math and technology and science and engineering and learning trades and all this, those kind of coding, that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, we don't have, either for money or whatever, or just knowledge or whatever. We usually don't have that the same level of resources to pass that information on to our children. You can only pass along as a parent, what you know. So how many of us really know too much about, STEM? You know what I mean? And so it's going to take some serious purposeful thinking from us as a people to kind of turn it around. And I think it's going to boil down to every single person just doing something within their family, within their kids, putting that into their kids. I just personally, I'm huge on that. Like I got my oldest is in computers. Both of my youngest are in code classes, and I make sure that they learn. You know what I mean? So so it's something that's always on my mind. Because I know that is the future, and that's where it's all going. You can see it. You can see it right now. With the remote learning and with remote working and everything that's going on. Right. So we definitely, it's definitely going to be the mover of the future. Technology. So yeah.
Now, I'm not surprised racism is in it. It seems to get in every single industry. It just has a way. I mean, that's just the bottom line. But I mean, we struggle on every front. I mean, on every single front, and it's never an easy day. As a matter of fact, if you go to a place and there is no racism, it makes you suspicious.
Yeah.
It just does.
You're just always expecting it,
right?
Yeah, but if everybody gets a chance, check out Coded Bias on Netflix. It just show you they don't even recognize our color schemes and stuff like that. We need more people at the table, and I think once we get a chance, the doctor will probably come in and talk about that stuff like that. But you got to watch Coded Bias and you understand what I'm saying. Then go on, sorry, Rod, you got to say something. Sorry about that.
No, I was just about to say it doesn't shock me that there's racism anywhere in America. But as far as with technology, I think that what I see in technology is basically, if it has something to do with pulling the Black community's money, then it's good. But when it has to do with people making money, then there's definitely going to be some serious biases when it comes to us, because they ain't trying to get us to make no money. They're trying to keep us just as a consumer. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
With that said, before we get to our great doctor tonight, Jamie, can you take us to our first commercial break?
Hi, I'm Dawn Kelly, and I'm the founder and CEO of The Nourish Spot, a healthy food and beverage haven in Southeast Jamaica, Queens. Chosen in 2019 as Micro Business of the Year by the U.S. Small Business Administration. My adult children, Jade and Owen Duncan, and I established the Nourish Spot to provide affordable access to healthy produce, to help our neighbors combat chronic diseases, to provide jobs for a diverse community youth. And it's no secret that small businesses play a critical role in the local economy. It's also proven that community is vital to the growth of small businesses. So come, let us nourish you at the Nourish Spot. We're open Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 6, and Saturdays, 10 to 6 p.m.
Welcome back. Welcome back. So we're talking about STEM and technology. This next person we have on our show is a bad mother. Shut your mouth.
Your mouth.
Dr. Nikki Washington, professor at Duke University in the computer science. This sister also has a book, Unapologetically Dope. Thank you, Sam, for putting it on there. Lessons for Black women and girls surviving and striving in the tech field. Jamie, can you bring in our dear sister, Dr. Nikki Washington?
Hello.
What up? What's up, Nikki? Nikki to the there we go. There go Nikki to the front. That's what I'm talking about. Welcome, Nikki.
How are y'all doing, gentlemen?
We're good. How you doing, sister?
Welcome, Nikki.
Well, thank you. Pardon me. I'm dealing with allergies down here, so I apologize.
I know you're in North Carolina. Listen, my eyes keep tearing the hair. I'm in Queens, and my eyes are tearing on the show right now. So I feel you, sister. So welcome, Nikki. So you heard us talking about like some of the biases in technology and stuff like that. Before we get into your book and stuff like that, have you experienced any of those things, and how did you deal with them?
Yeah. So I experienced them probably from the time I first started. One of my first experiences with racism was in my 6th grade math class with a white woman who was a teacher who was very, for some reason, pissed off that Black History Month was a thing and made it known to the class in the middle of Black History Month that this was racist. And if there was Black History Month, that we should have White History Month. And I was kind of the only person who raised my hand and said, well, that doesn't make sense because we study white history the other 11 months. And her response to me was, oh, Nikki, it's people like you who give Blacks a bad rep. Wow. And so that was kind of my first introduction to not even polite racism, very overt. But fortunately for me, I talk about the fact that I had a mom who was a programmer and a dad who was a K-12 educator and a Black male principal at the time. So I had all of these people who advocated for me, even though in that moment I could have shut down because I did. And it could have steered me directly away from anything in math and computing because I love math, I love computing. But when you have these kinds of experiences, they impact you for life. And you can always remember where you were, how you felt, even though I was 12 years old at the time. Fast forward to, I talk about very freely the experiences that I've had as a Black woman in computing, even at my prior institution, and the blatant racism and problems that I experienced due to more problematic white women a lot of times who weaponized their whiteness against me in ways that had nothing to do with my ability, but everything to do with just the fact that I did not conform and make them comfortable with my existence. And so to the point what you were talking about earlier, I think it was Kelvin that said, if you're somewhere and you don't experience racism, then that's probably an issue. You do end up in these situations where when things go well, you don't even know how to handle it because you're waiting for the ball to drop and you're always gun shy. And it's really driven a lot of the work that I do right now, to the point that you were talking about, even with coded bias. We talk a lot about the racism that's in the technology, but we don't talk enough about the racism that exists in the computing environments where they're developed. And we can never address the techno racism if we don't first talk about addressing the racism with the people in the room. And so that's where my work comes in. So you have the people like Joy Bulamwini and Timnit Gebru who are featured in Coded Bias, who talk about the technologies. I'm talking about the room and how do we get more people in the room from marginalized identities such that we can fix these things. And until we can do that, we also have to teach those computer scientists how to understand these topics of race, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, class, and ability, and how white supremacy and homophobia and transphobia manifest in computing environments and then technologies. Because we can't solve the problem ourselves, right? It's just like the greater problem of racism. We're never going to be able to fix it when it's just Black folks talking about it. We have to get white folks involved, and they have to be the ones to help dismantle this. And the same goes for our computing environments as well.
So Nikki, some of the work that you do, like you say, your parents, your mother was an IBM. I read your book. Your mother's an IBM. So what were some of the lessons that you got from your mother that made you like the person that you are now in this technology field?
Oh, good question. The first one was always to be true to yourself, that people will not like you. People are not always going to be comfortable with your existence, but you need to show up exactly as you are, who you are every single day. And always know that if you are doing the right thing, if you are pushing the needle forward in the right way, that even when you lose, you're not always losing, right? So I tell people a lot of times, some of those wins are going to show up in the L column, but that doesn't mean it's a complete loss. But it means that sometimes a door closes and a window and something else opens for you to just push through. And my career, I feel like, has been that. She worked in a time where from like 1972 to the early 2000s, where she saw that transition at IBM and having to deal with a lot of white and Asian men. And so for her, she always had to play the game a little bit more than I did. And so I took those lessons from her and found ways to maximize my experience, but also make sure I'm kicking down the door for other people behind me, just like she did. That was one of the biggest things, that is bigger than you. And it can never just be about you, because if you're the only person in the room and you're cool with that, then that's a problem itself.
You know, I want to ask a question. And first of all, thank you so much for coming on. I read your bio, and I was joking with the guys. I said, you can read somebody's bio and it make you feel unaccomplished. You know, and I can read. That's about where, you know. But you know, it's interesting because, you know, when it comes to education, as you talk about your parents, so I can see that you had a lot of great role models. But somewhere along the line, I think people identify children and say they have it. And you don't wind up in your position. I'm sure the hard work had to be coupled with your natural ability and your giftedness. But when did you start to know? Because I would think there's something different. You had to rise to the top of your class. You had to be competitive. I'm sure you were put in maybe honors classes. But when did you start to realize, you know what, I have something here? And I think education is going to just take me somewhere to another level when other people didn't take it as serious, especially from a young age.
So first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. I honestly don't know if I ever thought that, because my parents raised me in an environment where humility was key. You know, my parents were very much the parents that, you know, you never really were successful and take it down a notch, but they also surrounded me with so many people from different backgrounds and identities. And growing up here in Durham, when I say it was such an amazing time, because I was surrounded by other Black students who were just as smart, if not smarter. Like when I graduated from high school, I was maybe in the top 10%, but I wasn't the head of the class. And there were a ton of other Black students who we kind of filtered everyone else out because we all grew up together. We were dealing with these experiences. So we put blinders on and we kept that friendly competition with each other. I think part of it was because I played sports, so I was always competitive in a different way. So it kind of translated into academics. And for me, I stayed in the books because I didn't want to not be able to play sports. And I think when I got to college, that was probably the first clue for me that my experience K-12 probably wasn't the same for a lot of people. Even though I attended an HBCU, Johnson C. Smith in Charlotte, in my first programming class, I was kind of the one student who had taken programming before, and the teacher was like, why does this come a little bit more naturally for you? And I said, well, it's not natural. I took programming courses in high school. And that was kind of the first person who said, you know, you have something, because I planned to major in business as a high school student and college first year. But then my professor said, computer science, at the time it was 1996. So he said, by the time you graduate in 2000, computer science is going to be a really huge field. And as a Black woman, I think you'll do so much better here than in a space like business. So if you trust me on that, I can kind of help steer you. And that kind of was that turning point for me, where I was like, oh, for me. Now, teaching and education, I never wanted to do, because for me, it was by the time everything for me was, I don't want to work. So I'm cool with being a professional student as long as I could sustain my lifestyle and do what I needed to do. So when I entered the workforce, it was kind of like, all right, I'm ready to make paper because I've been in school for too long. But I was so miserable at my job, and there was an opportunity to teach part-time at Howard University. But I didn't want to teach part-time. I hated my job. And so I took this kind of leap of faith, like, well, maybe this will be a good fit for me. I said, maybe eventually I'd want to be a professor. And that kind of just opened up the doors. And I give credit to my department chair at the time, Lee Burge, who he kind of gave me carte blanche and took me under his wing. Like, you know, I don't win unless you win. So let's figure this out.
Dr. Washington, I'm going to piggyback a little bit off of Kelvin's question. I want you to tell the viewers your credentials and your background, because I was impressed with your bio as well.
Gosh, y'all are making me blush.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
I appreciate it. So I am a graduate, a very proud graduate of Johnson C. Smith University, class of 2000 in computer science. I earned my bachelor's degree there. I went on to North Carolina State University and received my master's and PhD from there, finishing in 2005. And so from there, I worked for a year at the Aerospace Corporation in Chantilly, Virginia, left that, and for 10 years was on faculty at Howard University in the computer science department. I left there in 2015, spent 5 years at Winthrop University in Rock Hill, South Carolina in the computer science department there. And then for the last year, I've been back here home in Durham at Duke University as a professor of practice in the computer science department there.
So, and I like black girl magic. So
yeah.
So what do you want for like we had Gerald Moore on here before. He's talking about young black men getting more into the tech field, and now we got yourself here bringing young girls to it, because I want to see like all the futuristic movies ever have black people in them, and I think you two are about to put black people in all up in the future. So what do you tell young people that don't know what they want to do in life and stuff like that? How could they get? Why would you tell them to get into this field of STEM?
So the first thing I'd say is it's okay to not know what you want to do, because I probably didn't know what I really, really wanted to do until probably like 6 or 7 years ago. Everything else was kind of, I had enough experience and background to try something, and it was like, all right, I'll try it and see. We put a lot of pressure on kids, especially to kind of have everything figured out when, they're just trying to enjoy being a kid. I would say that I think it's important for every student, particularly Black students, Indigenous students, and Latino students, to get exposure in computer science in some way, because we're moving to a situation where technology impacts our everyday lives in so many different ways. And we need more people who look like us at the table, making decisions, calling out things, being those gadflies in the room that say, this doesn't make sense because, like Joy said, encoded bias. For someone like me, this facial recognition technology doesn't even pick up me and my facial features. There's also the issues, though, if you think about it, where we don't learn enough, even as computer scientists, how social science plays a part in all that we do and the impact. And I think that's why we see so many problems. So, for example, there's a technology that's been released by NYPD recently. I don't know if y'all saw it with the DigiDogs. Yeah, and so there's now this surveillance, this mechanical robot dog that's moving specifically through communities of color, surveilling them in ways now that they're not even aware of at times. And there's other ways in which surveillance is already happening as well. So we have apps like, the Neighbor app, or those kind of things that everyone can fill out about their individual neighborhood, where people are now policing communities, and you and I could be surveilled and we don't even know it because we're just kind of trying to walk or exercise. And so that's why we need our students to start understanding not just programming, but also the ways in which these technologies are impacting our communities in negative ways, and where that historically is rooted. Because it's not just in the technology, right? This goes back to, we can start talking about financial fintech applications for like mortgage and credit apps, and the problems with Reconstruction and sharecropping and Black codes, and how all of those historical events have led to the fact that we oftentimes don't have what is deemed as acceptable credit to qualify for certain things like a mortgage or anything else. But we have to start getting students to think critically, not just about programming, but also about those kinds of conversations.
Yeah, and just to add on to what you said, they actually were able to prove that some of those facial recognitions with that NYPD identity was making a lot of mistakes when it came to African Americans' faces. They were identifying the wrong person.
Yep. And then we see, right? Look at what happens when someone is falsely accused, because when police are sent and called, they don't care about that a lot of times. And we see it every single day. It's like every other day we learn of another Black person who's been killed or assaulted, injured in some way. They don't care. When they get the call, they go. And so we have to have people who are doing their due diligence to make sure that those kind of mistakes can't happen, because when they happen, it only affects us. It never affects them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I want to get into your book a little bit here. I'm hold up your book again. For those who can see, can the camera, am I getting a good camera look? Okay, there it is. Okay. So in your book, like for me, I would ask you first, this is my first question to you. What is your favorite chapter in the book and why?
Oh, I would say my favorite chapter is asking for help. And I say that one because it's often hard, especially as Black women, to say that I can't do it all, and we end up taking on a lot more. And I appreciate it now, the fact that I can talk about the fact that I almost drowned in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in Turks and Caicos because I was worried about how it looked to white folks, as if I couldn't swim, right? So for anyone who doesn't know, there's a story I tell about how I went snorkeling. And to y'all's point about traveling, I traveled by myself to Turks and Caicos, and that was a whole thing in another relationship at that time. That's a story.
That was a long time ago.
But I'm in Turks and Caicos and I'm snorkeling. I'm the only Black person other than the people working. And the gentlemen who run the tour, they're down there like Michael Phelps, they're getting it. And I was like, oh, I can swim. So when it was time for us to kind of just have free time, everyone was taking off their life vests and just going down this slide. So I figured, I know how to swim. I can do that too. And then I get in the water. I'm not really in the best shape at the time. And so like 10 seconds of treading water, I'm like, yeah, this wasn't a good call. So now I'm trying to get back to the boat. And by the time I get back, I am so out of breath. I have to kind of sit on the steps for a minute to gather myself. But I kept saying the whole time, I don't want to drown. I can't drown in front of these white people. I know how to swim. I don't want them to think I can't, right?
Yeah.
But it's that whole thing of you are so afraid to ask for help because you're worried about what it looks like to white folks instead of just worrying about getting the help you need. And that's
the effect of racism on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know
right.
what I mean? That's what it is. Because the thing is, I remember being transferred to certain places and being the only Black supervisor there. And I have to go twice as hard. I can't make mistakes because I'm worried about what the white guys are going to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't be that person that stands out when it comes to them or in a negative way, because that's what racism does to you. It puts that in your mind.
And all of them, they are the most mediocre a lot of times. And so you're holding yourself to a standard that they will never meet.
Correct.
Yeah,
you know what I have I'm sorry, Dee, just one question. I have this thing that I kind of resent, and maybe you've experienced this, I'm sure. There's this thing and this misnomer, like Asian people are like the most, gifted when it comes to mathematics and things like that. And I'm not knocking Asian people. I'm talking about the perception that other races seem to have. Like, this joke about I'm gonna sit next to the Asian person in class for math or whatever, which most of that is probably based on some type of discipline whoever it is. But how do you feel about that? Because I think our young people who would love to follow in your steps, they just think in some cases they're not bright enough, they're not smart enough. And I think we don't encourage them from the beginning that you just, this idea back in the day, you just find a good, white person to work for or try to get you a city job or whatever. But some people are not taught that you can use your mind and you can be a brilliant person if you just, work hard and exercise the gifts that you have. Can you speak a little bit about that to younger people that will watch this video and they want to hear your words?
Yeah, and that's a really good question and point, because I think it's important for everyone to understand the ways that these assumptions that we make are all, again, like Rodney just said, rooted in white supremacy, right? That whole model minority myth that is used to describe Asian and Asian Americans, it is rooted in white supremacy and anti-Blackness specifically. And there's this idea of stereotype lift and stereotype fail. Right. So a lot of times Black students will have this idea of stereotype fail, like I'm just not good enough. I'm not good in math. I can't do it, whatever else, because I don't see enough of me. Stereotype lift on the opposite side is a lot of Asian students who feel like I'm not good in it either. But there's all of this pressure for people who think that automatically, because of how I look and my race, that I'm supposed to be. I think it's important that we understand that being in the room, everyone, and as I tell my students, everyone comes in a lot of times with that same level of knowledge or lack of knowledge. There's one or two students who are always the exception, but by far, everyone is coming in at that same level. The issues that impact us the most have nothing to do with our technical skills. We get discouraged because of a teacher who says, oh, well, I don't expect much from you. That's okay if you don't get it. Or a student who shows up and says, oh, are you here because of affirmative action? See, those are the non-technicals and the non-technical things that have nothing to do with how we succeed in the classroom, but they totally destroy a student's sense of belonging and self-confidence. So what I want students to know is that we are so gifted. If we look back historically, there's so many examples of how we were the first, right? Look at who invented math. First of all, look at Katherine Johnson. The first computers in this country were women, and the women who got the astronauts to Mars and back and wherever else in space, or the moon, I'm sorry, were Black women.
Yeah.
We need our students to know that it is okay to not know. And the biggest part in computer science is not knowing. Nobody knows everything, but let anybody tell it, you think they do. Right. And the beauty in not knowing is that because computing is moving so fast, there's no way you can ever know and keep up with everything. So I want students to understand that you enter with that that lack of knowledge and that just inquiry and that inquisitive nature, and use that to your advantage. Find out what your passion is, because computing is the one space that's so interdisciplinary. You can be in music, you can be in law, you can be in medicine, business, and you can still find a fit with computing in that space. So it's not so isolated where it doesn't apply to what you love to do. All of us love to get on our phone and do something, be it tweet, use some kind of music app, whatever. That's all computing. Imagine if you are building the next Spotify or Tidal instead of just consuming and using the next Spotify or Tidal. Put that power in our hands, right?
Excellent point.
Yeah,
so that's the point. To your point, so much of learning is community driven. We have that phrase, each one teach one, for instance. Like, how can we get our kids, the next generation to that knowledge? How do we get those in those? How do we get them in those rooms? How do we apply that learning?
Well, I think just inspiring them to understand what you just said, instead of like being the consumer. We have to understand being the owner of this stuff. I think that's like going to a point. That's why I think I want to get our kids focused on that part more.
Yeah,
especially our young sisters too.
Yeah, I think the questions to ask them become, when you find out that a student loves something, like, well, what do you think goes into creating that and making that? How can we make that happen? Start to show them those individuals who are doing this work. And then there's a lot of things that even if you don't have, for example, a Black Girls Code chapter or Girls Who Code or anything else that relates to getting students into programming, there are environments that you can use yourself to start building those skills. So App Inventor was created several years ago by MIT, and it's kind of a drag and drop environment that allows students to start learning basic programming fundamentals through a drag and drop environment where it fits together like puzzle pieces, and they build an app. And they can build it without having a phone. And so those are ways that you can start to give your child something to do at home as you start to try to find other things that they can do within the community. The biggest piece is that you don't have to know how to do these things, but having table talk and just starting to engage your students in these conversations and help them identify and flesh out what they want to do is so powerful, right? My grandparents never finished high school and never went to high school. And they told my mama at a certain point, all we can do is pray for you. And they got her through, right? But it's the point of just giving them the tools, encouraging them to have those conversations. Like I said, well, if you like this app, what if I told you that there's a way that you could start to build an app? Let's figure out how to build this app together and use App Inventor. And it's very easy to begin to learn those pieces, those small pieces that you can connect to start making the bigger pieces, such that by the time they get to high school, they're a little bit more interested in these kinds of technologies. And they're all free. That's the beauty of it. As long as you have access to the web, you have access to a lot of this stuff.
Right. I know in the part of your book, like that is what you said, something you said earlier about the swimming kind of made me think about it. Like own and trust your dopeness. Like when you knew you were like, see, that's part of a chapter in the book, like, so you can talk about it if you want to, Doc. But I just maybe when you thought about the swimming and stuff like that, like, yo, you dope, I can swim. you know. But
yeah. Well, you know, there's this idea of, you know, imposter syndrome a lot of times that we all tend to have, and I tell people all the time that sometimes I have it too, because when people say, you know, we want to talk to you, it's like, for what, right? But at the same time, you have to recognize that we all have gifts, and it's okay to brag and be proud of and aware of your accomplishments, because if you don't brag on you, who else will? And that's what I kind of had to come to at that point. And, you know, I'm a little bit older now, so I'm at the point where, you know, I show up in rooms and it's like, I'm here, you know, now y'all can sleep on me if you want, but that's going to be your L to take.
Correct.
That took a while to get to, right? Because when you have to face so many battles, you can get worn down a lot. So I think it's important that people remember that, you know, you were in the room for a reason. I have some students who just graduated from Duke, some young Black women who are going into new jobs coming up, and they're like, I'm really nervous because I don't know. And I keep saying, baby girl, you just graduated with a degree from Duke University. You are ready. Like, nobody can take that from you. And I need you to recognize that. And I need you to show up with the audacity of a mediocre white man, because that's how they should. That's how they show up, regardless of whether they are ready or not. Every single day they are live at 5, and I need you to show up with just a 10th of that, because if you do, you'll be fine. Like, none of them know anything either. They're just banking on the fact that you're gonna keep quiet.
Yeah, we gotta stop making ourselves so small. That's why we always come into a room being small. Like, you know, we scared to be seen. We scared to be Black in certain rooms. Like, yo, my name is Damon. It's no other. I don't code switch because my name is Damon. Like, you know who I am.
And you better say the name right too.
You know I am. You know I am about that.
That's right. I know. You better say my name right.
Don't say my name wrong. I'll correct any white
man. I show up every day. And I am normalizing Blackness in spaces that it's normally not. So when I show up, I'm coming in sneakers, t-shirts, jeans. All of my lectures are gonna like be named after some kind of hip hop or, you know, Black music song. So I'm bringing so much that I want to make sure that the people who are the least seen are the most represented in every single one of my courses. And you know, to my credit, I'm like, who? And I tell, it's terrible to say this, but I'm it's kind of like that Sheree from Real Housewives meme. Who gonna check me, boo? Like, who's gonna tell me that I can't do this, right? You can't tell me that I don't have the same credentials as you. So if we want to do a tit for tat, we can do that, but you probably won't win.
You know, we have so many of our children in our families. We don't necessarily have the resources in terms of, like, you know, computer, you know, and, you know, broadband and everything. So how do you get them? You know, what's the difference between, let's say, class learning and online learning? You know, because I noticed that you did some stuff with code.org as well, you know, and you mentioned, you know, learning online. Like, how do we get those tools in their hands?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that we learned over 2020 is that we weren't really doing online learning. We were doing remote learning and failing at it, because online learning would have been a situation where, like you said, Derik, right, everyone has the resources they need to succeed. I think that the biggest issue that we're facing, like you said, is going to be this access for our students right now in a time of COVID and the identity-based issue. So it's really important that you understand that you don't need a computer to start to understand these kinds of topics and learn them. If you can get to a library, there are a ton of books there as well that will teach you a lot of these topics. Now, it's not going to be as engaging as we're used to with all the bells and whistles, but it's still going to give you those fundamentals. And a lot of this can be kind of walk and talk kind of conversations that start to point out things. There's a really good book I would suggest for anyone who's looking to try to figure out a lot of this, and it's called Radical Equations. And it's a book by Robert Moses. He was organizer with SNCC, and he created the Algebra Project in Boston. But the reason I love that book is because he talks about and parallels how his trying to get more Black and brown students to take math by the 8th grade. He paralleled it with trying to get sharecroppers in Mississippi and the South the right to vote, and convincing them that they needed to do this because it was going to be the key to financial freedom for them. and some equality. But he talks about the ways in which he started to point out things like how using the subway can be used to describe computer networks, for example, and just everyday things that you're using, and how the trains moving on the tracks are the links, and then the trains are the nodes, but the actual paths and tracks are the links that connect this entire network. Getting students to kind of think those things through doesn't require a computer. It just requires some creativity. And like I said, you can grab that from your local library. You can grab it if you have access to a smartphone, which most of us do. You can pull that and start to leverage that information as well.
Yeah. Dr. Washington, I want to backtrack a little bit, and I don't like to play Monday morning quarterback, but you should have told that lady that I'm going to see you at 3:00 when she told you that you wasn't going to be nothing. Another thing, I think we should get your credentials. And if she's still with us, we should mail them to her.
Yeah.
Okay?
You know, a 12-year-old is kind of like, you don't know how to process that.
I know. I'm just joking around.
I have wondered. I'm like, I wonder where Miss Bothwell is now. But yeah. Hey, Miss Bothwell, if she's watching.
I know this. I know it may be petty, but I did it a couple of times myself. There's some people that didn't think I was going to amount to something, but they know now. They know.
Oh,
yeah.
I live in Petty. My former employers, I operate in that space now a lot of times.
Yeah.
Dr. Watcher, I got one last question for myself. And one chapter of your book is like assemble your tribe. Can you just explain what that means? Because I think a lot of young girls are going out here not understanding who they should situate themselves around. So
yes, that's a really good chapter because it talks about the importance of having 5 people who fit these different needs in your life at different points. So there's the sage, right, who's a little bit older, wiser, can kind of guide you. There's the motivator, who's usually your peer, who can kind of provide friendly competition. There's the straight shooter, who's going to give it to you, no chaser, and you may not like what they have to say, and it's going to hurt, but you'll be all right. Then there's the cheerleader, who kind of, picks you back up when all else is failed. And I can't even remember, what is the 5th one? I can't remember.
Hold on, I got it right here because you said sage, you said cheerleader, and the last one is the plug, the motivator plug.
Sorry, the plug. Yeah, the plug is that person that's, they got the connections to everyone else. Mm-hmm. But it's really important because as Black women, we understand the importance of having each other's back, right? And needing to lean on each other because we're not going to get through this field and in this life without each other. I especially want to encourage my young sisters to pay attention to and develop relationships in that same way. I think that we had the luxury of not having social media when we were growing up. And so we were able to create more meaningful relationships in ways that did not involve a like or, a retweet. And so I fear a lot of times because we've seen instances where young girls or young women are in groups. And for example, they're not looking out for each other. And then something happens to one. And those are just kind of things that we take for granted. Because my friends and I, we still, if one of us goes out on a date or something, it's like, this is his name. This is where we're going. Those kinds of things. But I think we have to remember that and teach that to young girls as well. Because again, they're going to face Mrs. Bothwell's. They're going to face a Becky or Amy Cooper. They're going to face a Chad. and they have to be able to lean on each other and get that support. And we still have to teach both our young men and our young women that they need each other and they need to look out for each other as well, right? Because we're not going to make it without the brothers. The brothers aren't going to make it without us, right? We are all fighting the same battle. We fight different battles, but it doesn't negate either one of our experiences.
Yeah. So Nikki, how can people get more involved? And I want to know about where can we find the book at and stuff like that. If we want to help, you got any kind of charity, donate any kind of funds, anything like that, let us know.
I don't have a charity, but I would say donate to your local students. If you know some students who want to attend some sort of camps or do something, make sure you pour into them. The book is available at NikkiWashington.com. That's NICKI Washington. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, all of that, all the time, trying to, just do my bit to help disrupt and dismantle
racism in the STEM field.
That's it.
Dr. Nikki Washington, we truly appreciate you, sister, your time and the information and knowledge and wisdom that you gave to us tonight. We love you, sister, and let's know anything you need from the brothers. Let's chop it up.
Thank you. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Have a good night.
All right, have a good night, sister. All right. Oh, Kelvin.
Kelvin, you got promoted.
He went Hollywood on me, man.
Wow.
You know, y'all didn't ask her top 5, and y'all know y'all would have done that.
Yeah.
She left the door open for it, and y'all didn't ask her.
Bring her back.
I was gonna ask her.
There you go. Bring her back. Yeah, you're back.
Nikki, quick question. We like since you said hip hop, right? We have the major question we always ask people on the show is your top 5 hip hop MCs.
Does it have to be in order?
Nope.
No,
just give
me 5.
3 Stacks. Biggie.
Okay.
Nas.
Okay. Nikki, cooking with grease.
Ho.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's a toss.
They say 6.
Actually,
they say 6.
Okay, let me get 6. All right, because it's still going to be a toss. I'm going to go because I have to go someone East Coast, and it's a toss between Snoop and E40 for me, and Too Short. It's a toss between those 3, but I lean towards E40 because he's so different, and I appreciate him. And then I'd say my strong 6 is probably DMX. I'm a huge DMX fan.
Man, X, a lot of people sleep on X. X was ill. Like everybody know he's dope, but no one never put him in like the top 5. He's in my top 10. He's in my top 10
too.
He's in my top 10.
Yeah.
So,
no, actually, he's probably in my top 12. Probably my top 12.
Yes.
Got a long list.
Y'all make it easy. Vicky, thank you so much. We had to ask you.
Enjoy your night. Sorry about that. Enjoy your night. Oh,
wow.
Look at that. Jamie, ain't that something?
Yo, I gotta say this, Jamie. That's producing at its best, though.
Yeah, man. Listen, Dr. Nikki Washington brought it to us, man. I mean, like, I like that she's attacking racism front and being unapologetically dope. I can never get that word out.
Yeah,
but she's phenomenal with that.
Very impressive sister.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
But you know what? I'm just blown away by the discipline that it takes, the hard work that it takes to get to that status and get to that level is such a great example. And those are people that need to be promoted in the community. And young people really need to see those are truly the icons right there.
Yep. She's dope. And I'm gonna hold up the book again for everyone to know to get this book. It's a good read. Give it to you. Get it for the young women. But also, I would say this
book for the young dudes
too. Young too. I picked up a lot of jewels. Even when I was saying about assembly your tribe, like when Rod said it, like. I would say I'm the plug, and we got people that's straight shooters and cheerleaders. We have that. Like everybody should surround themselves with that. I think it's a phenomenal dope book. So
I agree 100%, and I tell people all the time, like people not really paying attention to the people around them in a good way. Utilize your resources.
Mm-hmm.
There are some like when I need something, who's the first person I call to see if they know somebody that does it? I call D. When D needs something, no, I'm serious.
That's true.
Is that true though? I say, do you know somebody that does this? You know somebody that does that? You know what I'm saying? He does the same thing with me. We call each other. And then if he don't know nobody, I'll pick up the phone. I'll move it to the next phone number. I'm gonna find somebody that knows somebody.
Word up. That's true. And I'm glad that she's leading the way out there, especially like I want to see black people in the future. That's my whole thing. I want to see some futuristic stuff. We gonna go to Mars. We probably did
okay, look, y'all going without me. Y'all going without me to that one. But
Yo, I'm gonna tell you one thing. They gotta find robots that drink Hennessy though. You know what I'm saying? If we going to the future and shit,
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I tell you, one person's future is looking kind of bleak. Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is fuming over the inquiry from New York. New York is coming at that ass now, right? I think New York is James turned into criminal charges now. They look at the criminal charges.
They're looking at a criminal case in Donald Trump, and they got Donald Trump's CFO under pressure. His name is Alan Weinsberg, I think that's his name, and he worked for the Trump family for a long time. And the feds have him under pressure right now because guess what? If you follow the money, you're gonna get all the answers. But if you look, there's a lot of little investigations that's going on right now. And if you know anything about investigations, you're going to see that it's like a puzzle that the feds are putting together. They hit one person and they hit another person, and they're all kind of connected in a way to get one person. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they're doing. And then the thing is, at the end of the day, everybody's going to snitch. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, but do you see how the laws are trying to change now? They're trying to change these federal laws because all these white men might be going to jail soon.
Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
It seems really funny.
They might come up with a law like they say if you make over $600,000, you can only do a year in jail. They might come up with some crazy shit like that. You know?
It's not like it is already, right? You know, it feels like it sometimes, you know.
But, you know, and it seems like, you know, the prosecutors, I think, like Giuliani, right? Giuliani's under investigation too, right?
Giuliani's under investigation. They braided Giuliani's apartment. They got like 18 devices out of Rudy Giuliani's apartment. And you got to realize Giuliani knows where a lot of bodies are buried when it comes to Trump. So the thing is, like I told you, the feds are attacking the weak. And you have to keep in mind that all these people are very privileged. They cannot go to jail. They can't do no time. So that's why I'm saying everybody's going to snitch. Then you got the shit going on with Matt Gaetz too. So it's all connected. They're going to take them out piece by piece. And you got a Democratic administration in office right now. So they got, you know, the feds have got free reign. Donald Trump was holding everybody back. Put William Barr in as the AD. And, you know, he was slowing down a lot of investigations, but the investigations are going to start speeding up. We should start to see something come down on Matt Gaetz maybe in about a month or so.
I hope they can wrap this all up within this 4 years of this administration. That's all.
They're going to have to. They're going to have to. But it's going to be interesting to watch, though.
So yeah, you mentioned Matt Gaetz. Somebody struck a deal, right? Somebody struck a deal.
Yeah, Matt Gaetz, homie, struck a deal. His name I think is Joel Greenberg. Joel Greenberg struck a deal. He was some tax guy in Florida. He struck a deal. He was doing business with Matt Gaetz, so he struck a deal. And now they have one of Matt Gaetz' ex-girlfriends that they have. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you go to court and somebody testifies against you, and then the front of their name is ex, like ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, ex-side piece. Guess what? You are screwed. You are screwed. Any X's in front of a person's name and they're testifying against you, it's not gonna be good for you.
Yeah, even ex-porn stars.
Ex-porn stars. Never good with the word X.
Except for DMX.
Well, it's not the front. It's not
the
front.
Back. That's the back. That's right. But, my God. Anybody else want to say anything about the politics part, man?
I'm telling you, politics in this country, I don't know what makes you go into it. I really don't. I don't even know what makes, you want to go into it. Because
it got to be the power.
Yeah, it's power and money. That's what we talked about this before. It's about power and money. That's
but you know that expression, all money is not good money. It's not worth it. It's just not worth your privacy, your freedom, your anything. And you can't please everybody. That's the first thing you realize. And then I think what happens is the corruption is right there. We've known local politicians. D from the barbershop, you knew too.
Hey, Ruben's home.
His home? See, I thought we wasn't going to say his name.
I wasn't mentioning nobody's name.
Yeah, I don't want to say his name.
Reason why I'm saying his name, I was in discussions of bringing Ruben, trying to get Ruben to the show.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I had a talk this week. So
you think he would come on the show?
Say my name.
I didn't say his last name. I said Ruben.
Yeah. No.
It could be the sandwich. You could be talking about a sandwich, right?
Thank you, Rodney.
I try to help you. I try to save you, brother.
That's why you my man.
But you know what gets me though? You know what gets me? I think it becomes this era of invincibility. You look at Bernard Kerik going for Homeland Security, winds up locked up in jail. You look at Giuliani, who needs to be in jail. You can see, and they get this kind of heroic status, and then next minute, somebody opens up, puts that microscope under their lives, and that's it. It all comes out. It's amazing. And it's almost like they act like they didn't do it. Donald Trump was proud of it, and he knows how much foul stuff he did, just even before he got federal, even in locally here in New York, we know the foul stuff he's done. So, it's amazing. But guess what? Everybody talking about cleaning up the swamp. Since you actually stocked it and didn't clean it up, let's get to it. Swamp, man. Yeah, let's get to it now.
You do realize that they say things that they do. to divert everything off of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He knows that him and his people are the swamp, but he's going to paint it to the right wingers that no, I got your back. It's them that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? It's all BS, and you just got to be smart enough not to, to understand what they're doing.
I love Donald Trump as a good Christian man. I love him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
That part that kills me, man.
He couldn't even quote what part of the Bible you like.
He couldn't even quote it. Yeah, he couldn't even quote it.
I like the beginning part. I like the beginning.
I like that piece right in the middle with the pictures. Ain't no pictures in there.
I like the person that wrote the forward. The person that wrote the forward to the Bible.
Man.
What a fucking goofball, man. I mean, I'm saying, like, you talking about fucking failing up. God damn, man. I mean, you're talking about, when Dr. Nicky was talking about the white men, I mean, mediocre. I mean, he's not even mediocre. Like, he's not even mediocre, man.
The best definition I can give you of white privilege, you ever run up the stairs and trip up the stairs?
Yeah.
That's white privilege. You fall up the stairs and you keep going, and you still keep going. You make it to the top, right? That's white privilege, right there.
Word up. Everything else is falling down the stairs.
Everybody else falls down the stairs.
Oh no. No question at all.
Real quick, since we got some more extra time, man. Rodney, the gay pride, they banned the police, right, from being part of the gay pride. What's the deal with that?
No, they're not banning them. They don't want them on the parade route. They want them like a block out. So the gay pride committee is basically they're hiring their own personal security for the parade, but probably they don't want the cops there because the cops get the phone numbers to all the good ass. That's probably what it is.
I dropped the mic, goddamn it!
There go the other sponsor. Tell me, is he one of the sponsors?
Yeah, like it is. Let's face the fact. There's a lot of gay cops. You know what I'm saying?
This is.
It wasn't me this time, people.
No, let me ask you a question.
I'm telling you, they hook up, they get phone numbers and stuff like that. I mean,
but Rodney, New York has to give you permission to have.
They got it. Yeah, right.
New York has to give you permission to have parades, right? So you can't waive the police. Could you imagine the West Indian Day Parade or one of the black parades talk about we want the police off and we're gonna get our own security?
The pride community is very powerful.
Very.
Very powerful.
Very.
And the thing is, they got it. And you know something? They obviously have the money to pay this private security to do the security for the parade. So that tells you right there they're backing. Because me and you and Derek and D have conversations off the show. And I always tell you everything's about dollars and cents. If you got dollars and cents, you're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So they had said they're gonna have their own private security right in the beginning. So then they call it the gay I say gay security, but the gay pride security. Then they call the police in or something like that, right? I don't know. No.
First of all, I like to thank everybody for the support. This is honestly the last episode.
Oh, D got one. You my man, D. You my man. You my man.
You can join us. You can join us June 1st with Derek and our own show.
I want to see Rod. I want to see how it works if something goes down. Like I never seen nothing like this where the cops are not there and they gotta go like, "Excuse me, officer," and then he comes over and then
why
then
you use that voice? Why did you use that voice?
Now, Derek, we've got to try to find two guys just as good as you and Rodney. Okay,
you can't find.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, what it is that the police are going to still be there, but they want them a block off the parade route, and they're going to have private security on the parade route. And they actually, to be honest with you, the police are actually upset about it. I don't understand why.
Why?
Why? You still?
Don't they hook up like every parade though, man? Like you've been like, you got the Puerto Rican Day Parade. You can't tell me the cops don't be getting on. You got the Labor Day Parade in Brooklyn. You know they be getting.
Well, the thing is, those parades are like they're called details. So the thing is, a lot of overtime is made on those days. I remember when I was on a job, that was like a 12-15 hour day hit in overtime for us. You know what I'm saying? So it was big money, but a lot of people, in the police department don't like doing the parades. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to gay pride parades, there's a lot of police officers that very much enjoy doing it.
Hey, listen, to each their own. I mean, heard the after parties at the Blue Oyster, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that.
Everybody,
That's what you heard, D.
Thank you for coming out, everybody.
I can't resist. But no. So listen, at the end of the show, man, we got Watch It or Chop It. What's on the list, Jamie? First one up. I think we have Godfather of Harlem.
Oh, I think it's good. Starting off very good. Yeah,
very good. Second season.
Second season. Yeah. I like it. I say Forrest Whitaker's definitely doing this thing. Like,
I was surprised.
I was surprised too, D. I was like, nah, he don't do that no more, D.
I didn't know, man. I thought he was like, I'm a gangster. Like, I was like, how'd you do that?
Nah, D, he got his eye fixed and the back of his neck fixed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's serious?
Yeah.
His eyes like
he used to be like this.
No. Stop. You mean to tell me all these years it could have been fixed? He had the money. How now?
Technology. Still.
Yeah, my shit is stuck. I've been watching Godfather too long. My shit is stuck. He got his eye fixed. He got his eye fixed a long time ago.
Yeah, I think he had permanent pink eye before. But it's actually a good show.
It's great.
It's better than when he was in Ghost Dog. I couldn't believe him being a gangster. But this is better.
Yeah.
It's good. He's actually really good, man. It's also racism. A lot of stuff we didn't know too.
Correct. I think like in Ghost Dog, you ever watch like Forrest Whitaker's past stuff? It's like he was trying too hard to act.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But now it seems like he kind of got it under control.
Yo, what's the first thing you ever saw him in? I can tell you mine.
The first thing I can't.
I'm below you all back. Fucking Different Strokes.
Oh, you win.
No, you win. Yeah, I can't. I never even knew he was on Different Strokes.
He was a bully and he helped Arnold. He tried to help I think his name is Gooch or some shit like that.
He was the Gooch?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I never knew that they showed the Gooch.
Yeah. Wow. Remember he was there and then the girlfriend started liking Arnold. The reason I realized this, when I was sick with COVID, I don't think I couldn't reach the remote control, and that shit came on. I watched it. It was Forrest Whitaker.
Wow.
Nobody else is gonna get this reference about the Gooch but us.
I used to throw Forrest Whitaker in like my top 4 worst actors. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
I did. I used to throw him in there. You know him, and you know who was up there with him? Bokeem Woodbine. Hell yeah, he was horrible. If I saw a picture that had Bokeem Woodbine in it, that disqualified it right there. I wouldn't watch it.
Off the top.
Yeah. Yo, he walked like it. I mean, he just was too tense. Like
the best movie Bokeem Woodbine ever been in to me was when he was in Ray.
And Ray, okay, yeah, and he was in that Biggie and Tupac that movie too. That's on Netflix. He's in that too as one of the cops.
I mean, fuck it. I mean that's it. Let's Bokeem Woodbine.
But to be fair, you really can't see Bokeem Woodbine doing Shakespeare. Like it don't seem like he had to get typecast in that same.
Yeah, he get typecast. Yeah, so I mean, but I think Ray brought up. I think he got more roles like Ray would have been good. Another show, Sammy Jamie, that I'm feeling right now. There's also one episode that's coming on. I think it's coming on Epix. It's called Run the World. It's a new show. It's only been one episode. It's on Starz. Yeah, it's a new show. It's about, I think it's 4 or 5 sisters, young girls, like, and they're about in their 30s. They're just trying to figure out life and relationships, career stuff. So I think women should check it out. I like it. I that's my pink side. I like those kind of women shows. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. But check it out.
Yeah. You see, everybody just went quiet. I said, yo.
I am half woman. My mother is a woman. I'm half woman, so I can touch my women.
Okay, let's go quiet again. Let's go quiet again, guys.
Rodney, you wasn't leaving me hanging, man. You my man.
Yo, D, I can mess with you with some things, but there's some things I can't. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna pull back.
Damn, Rodney.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on then. Get over me. Yeah. The next show, The Upshores. I didn't see it, but I think Rodney, you checked it out. On Netflix. What do you think?
I saw it. Wanda Sykes, Mike Epps is in it, and Kim Fields is in it. They're basically the leads in it.
Fields.
Yeah, Kim Fields. Yeah.
Back in the day, not now, but back in the day, Kim Fields. You know.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it wasn't as funny as I thought it would be with Wanda Sykes and Mike Epps in it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I got a couple of chuckles, but it's kind of got a negative depiction of of the black man in it. Like Mike Epps plays the father. You know what I'm saying? All his friends are ex-cons. He's got a struggling business. He got baby mama drama. You know what I'm saying? He's like an F up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's everything is kind of negative about him. He's kind of dumb. You know what I'm saying? It's like I kind of think it's a negative depiction of a father in a black household. That's just my personal opinion.
Word, Nicky, they left me out there, man. That was my boys and whatnot, man.
Yeah.
You know what? My wife and I watched that the other night, man. The Upshaws, and we couldn't get past the first episode, man. I thought it was
Damn.
Man. Yeah, I thought it was pretty
like I said,
it was like really. And you're right. It's nowhere near as funny as you feel like it should be.
Correct.
I don't think Mike Epps is that funny. I don't know. I don't really care about.
No, I think he's hilarious. I think he's hilarious myself.
I don't think he's a great stand-up. I think
he's good in movies. I don't like his stand-up anymore.
Well, yeah, or the stand-up is kind of him just acting silly. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he definitely has his crowd, and and I can definitely see the show itself, having its appeal. Some of that stuff didn't bother me so much, though I do get where you're coming from, Rodney, with some of the some of the depictions. It didn't bother me so much because there are people out there that we have baby mama drama. You know what I mean? We have people out here that have children with different, and I think one episode I was watching, like there was birthdays for both of his kids.
On the same day,
parties on the same day. He had to figure that out,
And he was a father that was forgetting his kid's birthday.
And he was forgetting his kid's birthday.
It's like, it was like a lot of negative. They paint Mike Epps' character. They painted him as an F up. You know what I'm saying? Like he's always effing up.
Well, let people see it.
Yeah. Let them see it.
I just didn't think the jokes were that funny. I thought the canned laughter was very canned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like very pre-produced.
But I will say this though. This is the part that I do like. Wanda Sykes and Mike Epps are the executive producers, so that means they're getting paper.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. That's cool. But you would think it would just be funnier with them, though, man.
You would have thought it would have been, but
how many episodes? How long has it been on?
There's 10 episodes.
I don't have 10 hours to give. I don't.
No, it's the half hours. The show is only half hours.
You can't get that half hour back. Trust me. I can't get that back.
Oh man, damn, Derik. I know Derik can't sleep well, so I know he's tight.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let me tell you why I watched it, because I have this thing with insomnia. So I look for shows just like that where there's no commitment. I can fall asleep on it, you know what I mean? And I can just watch it. It can just slightly be entertained by it. And after a while, I just kind of get tired and fall asleep. Perfect for that. You know what I mean?
No commitment. Derik. God damn, man.
Yeah.
All right, we got another one on that. The Equalizer on CBS.
Very good.
I only saw 1 or 2 episodes. It was okay. I mean, Rodney, you finished the season, right? Oh no.
No, I only saw a couple of episodes too. I liked Queen Latifah in it. It's just that it's on CBS.
It's old people. I tell you, I feel like I'm 65 years old if I watch CBS. Anything on it. Price is Right. Only Price is Right when I'm sick. When you was a kid, you always watch Price is Right.
Yeah, and I because you would be homesick, faking sick. You watch Price is Right. Yeah.
Right.
But it feels like when you watch like ABC, CBS, NBC, it feels like you're watching Channel 13 to me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm just too. I guess I'm too adjusted to cable now. I don't know.
Me too, man. I'm so cabled out. I'm so cable. Yeah. I do watch Blackish and stuff like that.
You said I'm just so cable.
My wife and I watched that, man. She actually watched, I think, the whole season. She was very much into it. I think it was pretty cool. It was good. We're both just happy that Queen Latifah was getting a check. Back at the earlier point.
Oh yeah.
It was nice to see her get a check, and she wasn't bad in it at all. I thought it was pretty good. I think
that wasn't good. I just can't. See. It's about CBS is just like
No, it's definitely one of those things where you catch it when you're in the mood, and you can kind of watch a few of them, and Equalize is good.
Nigga, Nikki.
Yeah, pretty good. It was pretty good.
I tell you, but I will say this: Queen Latifah, I think she looks good in it. I think she looks great.
Yeah,
I really do. I think she looks good.
Good acting. Yeah.
Queen Latifah's like
her.
what? She's like 50 something right now.
She gotta
right
be.
there,
She
man.
gotta
Yeah,
be. She gotta be like 51, 52, somewhere around there.
Yeah. I think she looks great in it. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Well, good black don't crack, so you know.
Yeah, it don't crack.
She got some good
But they got Queen Latifah in there rocking motorcycles and stuff.
Yeah,
you know
no, she's tough. She's a little tough guy.
She can really ride. She can really ride.
No, she really used to ride. Yeah.
I believed her. I believed her as a cop. You know what I mean? I really did. Yeah.
And the last one is City on the Hill, featured on Showtime. I was watching the first few episodes. Rodney said it was very, very good. Rodney can talk about it.
Second season is dope. Definitely got to watch it. You know.
Gayle King.
Lord have mercy. She said that's the best thing. That's all they got.
Oh my God, Marshall Gayle King. We'll go back to City on. We don't talk about Marshall. King.
No, City on the Hill second season is dope. Definitely better than the first season. I thought the first season was good, but
Nicole's is stupid.
But I definitely would recommend the second season of City on the Hill. If you didn't watch the first season, definitely watch it so you can know everything that's going on and why they're doing certain things. But second season was better than the first season.
And check out Roots the musical.
Yo, fellas, we out of time. So listen, people, remember, starting the first Wednesday in June at 9 p.m., the brothers from Let's Chop It Up will move it to Wednesday nights because we know y'all outside. It's hot girl summer, so we move it to Wednesday nights. Ain't nothing to do on Wednesday, so y'all can check us out on the Wednesday.
Let's go, hump day.
Well, like, subscribe, comment, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Peace. Love you, brothers, man. See y'all next time.
Later, y'all.